What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to We the Champs. It's a pleasure to have you here. I'm your host, Jalen, and I'm rolling solo dolo for the afternoon. All right. So, what today we're going to get into is the NFL power rankings post draft. All right. I'm going to give you my top 10, including some honorable mentions that just missed the cut. Before we get into that, you guys know the call to action: like, subscribe, comment, share with your friends, hit that bell notification, and we're gonna be all right. All right. So sweet. So let me start it off with honorable mentions: teams that just missed the cut. All right. So I have here a couple playoff teams in this mix: the Dolphins, Colts, and Browns. The Dolphins, they're like that high speed fancy race car. They got beat pretty bad by the Chiefs in the postseason in Arrowhead, but they did have quite a few injuries. Like, they didn't even have a pass rusher. How are you going to play Patrick Mahomes without a pass rusher? So I expect this offense to come back blazing guns, and we'll see how far they could make it with their team health, especially on defense. All right. And so we have the Colts, who I was kind of high on coming into the season this year. I think they're a team that's vastly slept on. I like the Colts, and then they have the former rookie quarterback coming back in Anthony Richardson. We can see if he took some strides. No, he got injured with that shoulder injury, but Anthony Richardson will be back, JT back, getting the game back, all right? And so we also had the Browns. The Browns were a super tough team, especially at home. We all know how hard hitting that defense was, led by Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward at the cornerback position. A lot of the Browns is going to be depending on Deshaun Watson. He really hasn't lived up to even half of that contract. I mean, we've seen some flashes here and there, but the play on the field hasn't been to par of what the Browns organization and fans of the league wanted, as well as him actually being on the field. We know he missed a lot of time. I think they went all the way to the third or fourth string quarterback, who was Joe Flacco. I think he just missed the comeback player of the year, or he did get it. I'm not too sure, but Joe Flacco really stepped up there. So quarterback position is going to be a lot in the Browns, and I know they got another receiver. I forgot which receiver it was, but they did get somebody in. And the Bengals. I'm sorry, Jay. I got them out here. Bengals are always a solid team, especially when Joe Burrow's at the helm. But we have to look at Joe Burrow's health. I wasn't too high on the Bengals prior to his injury. They heated up a little bit, then Joe Burrow went out. And the backup quarterback still has some good games, but, they just didn't have enough juice to make it to the playoffs. And with players such as Trey Hendrickson and T. Higgins requesting to being traded, there's some contract issues right there. So who knows what happens? I think T. Higgins, if he went out in free agency, he'll be slightly overpaid, but he still is a good player. But they have to get things right in there, because those are definitely two members of the core of this Bengals team that's, trying to build continuity and stay a Super Bowl contender. All right. Let's get it. Let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's get to the top 10. All right. Number 10. How about them Cowboys? For a second, I felt like this was a little far back, but I'm definitely not going to get any slack right here from anybody other than Cowboy fans that have them at number 10. They went to the postseason, and in typical Cowboy fashion, they disappoint. They got their ass beat by the Packers, bro. Like a young and upcoming team, they got busted down by the Packers. Run game kind of failed them. The run game kind of failed them going into the postseason, and they let Tony Pollard go and didn't replace him with a running back in free agency or in the draft. So, Cowboys, what you doing? How much are we really about to put on Dak Prescott's shoulder? We got some things to do. I think this defense will be back hitting hard, but Cowboys, we got some voids to fill, and we'll see what happens, all right? Number 9, the Rams. So a lot of people thought the Rams were in a rebuilding phase after that Super Bowl championship hangover. They fell down pretty bad. Matthew Stafford missed a lot of games. I mean, we even saw Baker Mayfield come out and play for them. And last year, they actually had a postseason berth, lost a pretty close game to the Detroit Lions, who actually have higher on this We the Champs hierarchy here. So I definitely like the Rams coming into this season. Thought they had a decent draft. Aaron Donald retired. However, you still have Matthew Stafford, a quarterback that's won a Super Bowl title, who I believe can be very effective in the postseason. And then you had the up-and-comer wide receiver on the other side of Cooper Kupp in this lineup. So definitely I like the Rams at number 9. Number 8, the Houston Texans. I would like to have the Texans higher here. What's funny is this was the most surprising team in last year's NFL season. So, so they went number 2, and they went back-to-back. So they drafted C.J. Stroud, of course, and Will Anderson. And it's so funny. I thought the Texans were going to have a season like the Panthers did. However, it was the exact reverse. The Texans had the bomb-ass season, won the postseason game, got their superstar quarterback, C.J. Stroud, and the Panthers just wah. But I definitely like the Houston Texans at this spot. I think they could be higher. They're getting the young quarterback a lot of help on that offensive side of the ball. They got Stephon Diggs from the Bills, Joe Mixon in that backfield to, get a little backfield boost. So that's what's pretty good with DeMeco Ryans, defensive-minded head coach, defensive play caller. Hey, let me handle the defense. Let me, cover up these margins. Let me create margin for error on defense and build up this offense so this team can be the best that we can be, because we need to put up some points. Okay, number 7. It's just funny. I talked about Stephon Diggs. This is the team that Stephon Diggs came from, the Buffalo Bills. So they attempted to fill that void with Stephon leaving, with drafting Keon Coleman, wide receiver out of Florida State, with their first pick of the draft. I just like him here at number 7. I believe Josh Allen is the number 2 quarterback in the league, and I'm not taking him out of the top 10 until I really see them crash and burn and Josh Allen just have a poo-poo season or get put out due to injury, which we haven't seen yet, and I don't think it's coming anytime soon, all right? Keep balling, Josh. Number 6. So this was one of my favorite teams to scout during the past few seasons, and that is the Philadelphia Eagles right here. They kind of had a flame out season they absolutely did. It was terrible. They were getting their asses beat, games they should have won. After they lost to the Niners, it got really bad. They couldn't stop anybody on defense. It was atrocious. The offense looked pretty stagnant, and all of the blame went to the coordinators. Now we know last year Shane Steichen and I can't remember the other coordinator they had on the team, but they got replaced by 2 new guys, and those guys ended up being the scapegoat. I mean, you look at this team. I don't even have to talk about the offense, who just added Saquon Brown. What's really interesting was with their draft, they ended up drafting the best cornerback prospect out of Toledo, and they drafted another top cornerback prospect out of Iowa, and Cooper DeJean. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but they're getting back to what they do the best. And the coordinators they have, Vic Fangio on defense and Kellen Moore on offense. The Eagles should go back to pounding teams per usual. And you look, they lost Hassan Reddick on defense, but they did draft. They always draft in the trenches pretty well. They had Nolan Smith, the Georgia Bulldog pass rusher. This would be his sophomore season. Definitely expecting to see some step-ups there. Jordan Davis, defensive tackle, and also Jalen Carter, who I thought should have got Defensive Rookie of the Year, or did he? No, it was Will Anderson, but I like Jalen Carter. The Eagles should definitely bounce back hard this season. Expect the Eagles to be a top 3 seed in the NFC playoffs. Okay. Number 5, the Lions. So just like the Eagles, the Lions wanted to brush up and, fix up that secondary back there. With their first 2 picks, they drafted 2 cornerbacks, which I thought was it. Anytime a team goes with the first 2 picks at the same position, I think it's pretty interesting. So these are the conference runner-ups. They had this game won. They had this game won. With the Lions, I just like what they're building. Let's keep the continuity going. Let's keep it flowing. Jared Goff keeps slinging the ball here. This offense is going to be great still. They kept their offensive coordinator, who was getting a lot of coaching offers in the postseason, but he decided to stay in Detroit. He loves it there. That just tells you the culture this team has built around them. If the offensive coordinator wants to stay offensive coordinator versus going to be a head coach elsewhere, then I feel like that definitely speaks measures. All right. Number 4, we had the Super Bowl runner-ups in the San Francisco 49ers. This roster has been arguably the best roster in the past 2 or 3 seasons in the league. They've been pounding teams. They got CMC, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and Pro Bowlers, Hall of Fame players all over the field. Trent Williams, freaking Fred Warner. This is a great team, very physical team, a team that faced a lot of injuries, and they're getting pretty older. 49ers. I just like them right here. They're very near the top, but not at the top. And I know the Super Bowl hangover is pretty much a superstitious thing, but there's different factors that lead to it. Agent vets getting out of there, not being as effective as before, and just the buildup. It takes a lot to go to a Super Bowl, but just think of going to a Super Bowl and losing and coming back the following season trying to follow that up, all right? And this is where it gets juicy. This is my curveball right here. You see it sinking? Number 3, I got the Green Bay Packers. Like what they did last year. Now, this isn't a total reflection of their record last year. I believe the Packers they finished the season 9-8 or 10-7. This is more so a reflection of how the Packers were at the tail end of the season. I mean, they were hot. Jordan Love really came into fruition. So I just want to go ahead and claim it. I've been a Jordan Love supporter since day one. I like this draft profile, I like his measurables, his tools. I even wrote an article about this one. And hot take, Jordan Love going into this season could be the best quarterback in the National Football Conference, the NFC. And that's why I have them here at number 3. And with the help they're getting around him, Josh Jacobs, very, very high on Josh Jacobs too. Definitely upgrade over Aaron Jones, just a pure, maybe not so much as a pass catcher, but just a pure tailback, taking the ball or running the ball, they're making things happen, which running the ball is a luxury for offenses, especially for quarterbacks, takes a lot off of them. And they brought in some safeties. I can't remember the safety they picked up in free agency. I believe they drafted a safety towards the middle or towards the beginning part of the draft. But hot take right here. I know it's post-draft, early preseason, early postseason. I have the Packers making it to the Super Bowl in the NFC. Hold me to that, all right? And this is another change-up kind of ball. I'm going to call this my slider right here. Number 2, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. Ooh. Don't get mad at me, guys. All right, so, well, it's more so about how much I think of the number 1 team, which you guys already know who the number 1 team is if I haven't said them yet. The Kansas City Chiefs. A lot of folks have their rankings. They say the Kansas City Chiefs are number 1 until somebody knocks them off. And the position group that was their weakness, ironically, was the wide receiver room. They shored up on that quite a bit. They drafted the fastest receiver in the draft, Xavier Worthy out of Texas. And they also bought in free agent, or it might have been a trade, I'm not sure. However, they have Hollywood Marquise Brown on the team, who is likely to have a very big, productive season, efficient season with the Kansas City Chiefs. And there's not more I can say about them. They extended Travis Kelce. They had Chris Jones back there. The secondary. Shout out Jalen Watson, my guy from Augusta, Georgia. Yes, sir. And yeah, they're running it back. All right. Number one, the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say, Jalen, how the hell are you going to have the Ravens there when they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Conference Championship game? They lost, yes, but I believe they got psyched out. They got hit with the Patrick Mahomes effect, you know. Patrick Mahomes got down the field, scored at a decent pace, a good clip. And what did the Ravens do? They answered with the big touchdown play to, gosh, why can I think of the young man's name? Zay Flowers. So with that, the offensive coordinator probably believed, hey, we can take blow for blow, toe for toe. And that led to several turnovers in this game. And they got away from the one thing they do the best. They were the top rushing team in the country. And how can you only rush it 5 times with your running backs in a conference championship game where you're only down 1 score? So that blows me. But I believe with the addition of Derrick Henry, top 5 running back in the league, if you're only down 1 score, why are you not going to give Derrick Henry the ball? So in a rematch, I believe that will be the X factor in this game. All right. And guys, that does it for my We the Champs NFL post-draft, postseason power rankings. Tell me what you like. Leave some comments, DM. And don't forget to like and subscribe. We the Champs. We out. Thank you.